Hello and welcome to my channel Happy Hours. In my last video, I discussed about Bhakti and Sufi movements, where I discussed about different silsilas in India. I discussed about Tulsidas, Kabir Das, Mirabai, Guru Nanak, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Gyandev. In this video, I am going to proceed further with the discussion on Namdev, Eknath, Tukaram, and Ramdas. I am going to critically analyze Bhakti and Sufi movement and about their impact on society and their similarities and dissimilarities. I am going to discuss about the science and technology, where I am going to discuss about the contribution of Aryabhat, Brahmabhat, Varahamihir, Charak, Susruta, and many more. In the end, I am going to discuss about numismatics. So what are you waiting for? Let's start with the discussion on Sant Namdev. Sant Namdev was a dacoit in the earlier days. Afterwards, he became a tailor, and finally, he became the saint. He was very much influenced by Vaishnava philosophy. He believed in Vitova. He used the Marathi language to convey their belief and used melodic device Samkirtana. He composed bhajan. He established Mahapurush Sampradaya. His poetry was accepted by Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak adopted poetry of 50 great saints. Next is Eknath. He was Hindu saint, philosopher and poet. He preached in Marathi language. His compilation of work is known as Eknathi Bhagavata. He wrote Bhavarth Ramayan and composed Rukmini Swayamvar Hastamalak. Tukaram. He popularized Vitova cult in Maharashtra. Panderpur, Maharashtra is famous for temple of Vitthal Swami. His devotional songs are known as Abhang. Tukaram was contemporary of Shivaji Maharaj. Ramdas. He was philosopher guru of Shivaji Maharaj. He wrote a book named Dasobodh. Bal Gangadhar Tilak was also very much inspired by his thought. Ramdas started a new sect known as Daskari sect, and the theme of this sect was a mixture of spiritual and worldly life. I'm proceeding with the next topic, and I'm going to analyze critically about the Bhakti and Sufi movement. Both Bhakti and Sufi movement has huge impact on Indian society. Both had broken the rigidity of social structure. They advocated tolerance, peaceful coexistence, and social equality. They both emphasized on human dignity and social equality. They diluted caste contradiction. They provided respect to lower caste thinkers also. In spite of all these, there are some inherent drawbacks of these movements, such as both the religious reforms had worked within the framework of their respective religion. Therefore, they provided relief but not the solution. They emphasized tolerance and peaceful existence. But in Islam, conflict between Shia and Sunni continued. And in Hinduism, the conflict between Saivism and Vaishnavism also continued. They rejected the material life, therefore, scientific temperament and technological development was restricted, which affected the development of India. Now let us proceed and discuss the positive impact of Bhakti and Sufi movement. They provided the dignity of labor. They removed the stigma of neech vritti and assured theory of karma like cleaning of toilet, drainage, etc. Or we can say they provide the dignity to the low profile workers. Bhakti movement led the peasant movement of Karnataka, which is also known as Lingayat movement. It was led by Basaveshwar, known as Vasavarna also. It was the movement against landlords who were Vaishnava. Bhakti movement inspired the foundation of Vijayanagar Empire and Swaraj of Shivaji Maharaj. Sufi movement removed the tag of Islamic State, that Islamic State is only for the Muslims. Like Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Alauddin Hussain Shah, Akbar, Jainul Abidin, they were inspired by Sufism. Ibrahim Ali Adil Shah of Bijapur was also known as Jagat Guru. It preserved the regional language. Like Kabir, he used to write in Bhojpuri. Mirabai used Braj Bhasha, Tulsidas used Awadhi, Vidyapati used Maithili, and Chandidas used Bengali. It inspired Hindustani and Carnatic music, and it inspired many classical dance of India also. Now let us discuss the similarities and dissimilarities of Bhakti and Sufi movement. First, I am going to discuss about the similarities. Both accepted the ideas of gurus, Peer and Murid, where Peer is the mentor and Murid is the disciple. There will be a transfer of knowledge. Likewise, Guru Sishya Parampara in Bhakti exists. They followed common man's language. Malik Muhammad Jaisi used Hindi, Gautam Buddha used Pali. Both accepted popular means like music, dance in preaching out to the common man. And finally, they both accepted scriptures as the basis. And now let us discuss about the differences. Sufism was more universal in the form of content wherein compared to Bhakti. Bhakti basically concerned for eradication of caste, rigidity, dignity of human and theory of karma. The concept of Sagun Bhakti, which means Ram Margi and Krishna Margi, is totally absent in Sufism. The Bhakti reformers moved as one amongst the society, whereas Sufism preferred to live a secular life away from the society. The Sufism deviation from scriptures, dividing the movement into Basara, where the followers of scriptures, and Beshara, the non-followers of scriptures, exist. This tendency is not seen in Bhakti movement. The next aspect is science and technology, under which first I am going to discuss about mathematics. In Rig Veda, Mandal 7, we have education hymn called Mandhak Sukta. The word Ganita is described in Vedic literature. In Vedic literature, we have mathematics, astronomy, geometry is also known as Rekha Ganit. Yajurveda, in Sapat Brahman, Sulva Sutra, there are the three Vedic texts which describe the geometry, that is, the measurement of length. It described the construction of fire altars. Aryabhatta originated trigonometry, that is, the calculation of area of triangle. He is in the 5th century AD and wrote a book Surya Siddhant. He used decimal system in astronomical calculation. Indian number system reached to Western world via Arabian merchant. Zero was discovered in the subcontinent around 2nd century BCE. Next is Brahmagupta. He wrote a book Brahma Siddhant, where negative numbers and zero is described. Rules for operating with negative number is zero is also described in his book. Next is the field of astronomy. Aryabhatta wrote a book Aryabhatyam, which was the book of mathematics. He was the first person who explained about the sun-centric movement, which means sun is at the center and the other planets are rotating around it. He explains the lunar and solar eclipses. He gave a near correct approximation of Earth's circumference. He wrote about the Earth rotation on its axis and rotation of Earth around the Sun. Means he described about the planetary movement. These are the contribution of Aryabhatta in astronomy. Next came Varahamihir. He was in the 6th century. He wrote Panch Siddhantika. It deals with astronomy. He works on astrology and wrote Laghu Jataka, Brihat Jataka and Brihat Samhita. He gave the theory of moon's revolution around earth. He described the motion of nakshatra and their impact on life. Now let us discuss about Brahmagupta again. He wrote a book Brahma Siddhant. He discussed about the astronomical instruments. He recognized the gravitational force. Next comes the field of medicine and medical science. It was very much developed in India. Atharvaved deals with Ayurveda, means herbs and medicine. The most development were done in the post-Mauryan period, where Charak wrote Charak Samhita. He is known as the father of Ayurveda. Susruta was known as the father of surgery. He was having the knowledge of surgeries on ulcer and cataract. In ancient India, there was a physician named Dhanvantari. He was also known as the medicine man. There were two big centers for medicine, or we can say medical science. First was Taxila, which was for medicine, and Banaras was famous for surgery. Now let us understand the next aspect, that is the numismatic, which is the study of coins. In Harappan civilization there was no coin. Only seals were used for the medium of transaction. In Vedic period, Nishk and Satman were used as medium of transaction. Nishk is gold and Satman is made of silver. They were not used as coin, but they were the piece of metal, means they were exchanging the piece of metal for transaction. In the 5th century BC, first coin was minted in India. It was known as punch marked coins. These were mostly made of silver. They were known as punch marked cause they were punched with 5 symbols. There are many symbols like moon, trees, fish, stupa, Sudra Chakra, and others. And these were the very common symbols used on these coins. These coins were always irregular shape and punch marked. These were famous during the Mauryan period, and these were known as Rupya Rupa, which was made of silver. Suvarna Surupa, which was made of gold. Tamra Rupa, made of copper, and Sisa Rupa, which is made of lead. It was mentioned in Arthashastra, a book by Chanakya. There were many coins like Maska, Kakini, Kadshappan, where Maska and Kakini were made of copper and Kadshappan was made of silver. These were all in the Mauryan period. Now let us proceed with the Indo-Greek. They were the first to issue gold coin. In these coins, date system, icon of ruler, icon of deity, and script were used. Next is Kushan. They issued purest gold coin in large number with icon of Buddha. Next is Gupta period coin. They issued many coins of gold and silver. Gold coins were very impure. They issued Kumar Devi types coins. They were issued to celebrate marriage of Chandragupta first to Lichvi princess Kumar Devi. Ashwamedh type coins were also issued by Gupta, and Lakshmi symbol was also used by them. Next is the Satavahan. Their coins were known as poteen. Poteen is the mixture of silver and lead. Next proceed to the medieval India, and we are going to discuss about the Delhi Sultanate. Iltutmish, he introduced 2 coins, Tanka and Jeetal. Tanka was made of silver and Jeetal was made of copper. 1 Tanka equals to 48 Jeetal. In the Mughal era, Akbar issued Muhar, Ilahi, Jalali and Dam. Muhar was a gold coin, Ilahi was also a gold coin, and Jalali was silver and Dam was copper coin. Muhar and Dam were in circulation in market. Fulus, Adha, Bheek, these were copper coins. Even Ram and Sita image was used in these coins and circulated by Akbar. They were circulated till the time of Aurangzeb. Now let us proceed to the last topic, which is the cultural institutions of India. First is Archaeological Survey of India, or ASI. It comes under the Department of Culture, under Cultural Ministry. It is for the preservation of ancient monuments. Second is the Craft Council of India, or CCI. It is a non-profit organization started by Kamla Devi Chattopadhyay. It was established in the year 1976 to preserve art and craft. Its headquarters is in Chennai. Third one is Indira Gandhi National Center of Art, or IGNCA. It was established by Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi and it is in the form of trust. Fourth one is Sahitya Academy. It was established in the year 1954. Earlier it was known as National Academy of Letters. It is autonomous organization to observe literacy activities in 24 languages, out of which 22 are mentioned in the 12th schedule of Constitution and 2 extra languages are English and Rajasthani. Fifth one is the Sangeet Natak Academy. It was established in the year 1952 by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. The major focus of this academy was to create a setup for music, drama and dances of India. And in the last one is Lalit Kala Academy. It is also known as National Academy of Art. It was established in the year 1954 with the sole objective to promote fine arts in India. The main center is in Delhi and they have the regional center in Chennai, Kolkata, Lucknow, Shimla, Shillong and Bhubaneswar. This academy is autonomous body and funded by Ministry of Culture. By this I have concluded the discussion on Sufi and Bhakti Andolan, science and technology, where I discuss about the various contributors from India, and in numismatic I discuss about the coins of different period and about the different cultural institutions of India. By this I am concluding my video here. If you will find my video interesting, kindly like, share and subscribe. Thank you.